Welcome to the In Season podcast, rated R for language.
None of us are doctors or neurologists. Things you're about to hear are opinions of people living with epilepsy or seizures. These are firsthand experiences. Epilepsy can cause speech problems, and medications are hard to pronounce, so please bear with me. Epilepsy can cause bad memory, so some stories will be repeated. I'm Pookie. Get ready. I got something here. It says, how much sleep do people get? I know that lack of sleep can be a trigger for many people's seizures, but just how bad is it? We keep getting told we need 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, but my average is 6 hours and 46 minutes. Last year it was 6 hours and 45 minutes, etc. And never feel the same. I never feel the need for more. I'm terrible at waking up at 4 a.m. and lying around, but as long as I can get back to sleep within a couple hours, I can get a night's allocation. So, how much do other people get in real life? And how can I persuade my brain to need 8 hours? Persuading the brain is kind of hard, or I would persuade my brain to stop having seizures if that were possible. I wouldn't say get sleeping meds because they gave me those and the side effects were even worse, so I didn't take them. Just fight the insomnia. I get my 8 hours. Whenever I go to sleep, I get that full 8. I wake up and figure out if I go to sleep at 5, I'll wake up at 12. But yeah, I'm getting my full 8. How about you?
For me, like, I would get like 6 to 7 hours of sleep. Because like my room is like pretty much like a mess and stuff like that. But like for me, I would get like at least like 6 to 7 hours of sleep. But basically 7. Like I've been trying to like limit going out and and trying to go to sleep more because because like for me like if I take like sleeping meds, like the side effects like make it worse. Like with the sleeping effects. With the sleeping effects and also with the sleeping meds as well. So so personally like I would like try to make it at a normal time to sleep. Like whether it's like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. And then like try to schedule that for a few weeks and I will like set the alarm for at least like from like 6 a.m. to from like at least like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. Like like just to wake up. But I did heard that people get us like sleep apnea. I mean like like for me, I would like use like the nasal spray before I go to sleep, or else like there's one TikTok nasal spray that they have to make you go to sleep. I forgot the name of it, but but like I think personally I would I would say like I would say like just train yourself to sleep at a regular time.
Unless you're taking things that cause insomnia,
Right.
then you either fight the insomnia or ask for something else. With me,
Yeah.
I felt like it's working for my seizures, so just fight the insomnia. Do what you can. I'm winning the fight, I believe.
For sleep.
Yeah, I think I'm losing the fight sometimes when I'm up until 6 a.m. and I'm just like, go to sleep. And
Yeah.
for the most part, I'm winning. Anybody else fighting that deep night's sleep? Anyone not getting 8 hours?
Well, I'm definitely down to 5, but it's working. Once a week, I'll sleep in. get closer to 8 hours. And this is going on the 4th week
Are you allowed to have it?
of the B12 and a lot more energy, one less benzo. Again, just a lot more energy, feeling better, and less sleep. 5 hours is, I'm making a lot more better use of my time. So maybe everybody doesn't need the 8 hours every night.
Yeah, 'cause I definitely couldn't ride on 5. No days of the week. That sounds rough.
Shout out to Nature's Maid. I like it.
Yeah, shout out to Nature's Maid, but I couldn't do 5 hours. I need at least.
But then when I do sleep, it's definitely a much deeper sleep. I'm not waking up in the middle of it, before when I was getting the 8 hours and waking up earlier in the day. I would wake up every 3 hours without fail. And that doesn't happen anymore. Now that it's less sleep, I do sleep harder.
So I'm a light sleeper. So me for falling asleep, I hear things moving around, and being that there's a bathroom on each side of me, someone's gonna do something. And especially because it's weekdays, I hear someone showering to my left, bathroom to my right, and my sister that's in our house. But yeah, I can hear showers start each morning. I can hear people getting ready for work. So yeah, I try to sleep before 6. I try, because other than that, I'm not going to be able to. People are up moving around. TVs are on. You can hear everything under me, next to me. Yeah. If I don't get any sleep, then I just ride it out until I'm tired and fall asleep wherever I'm at. The first comment here says, I'm getting 2 to 4 hours of sleep. Another one says, my epileptologist has always said sleep is quality over quantity type thing. I don't worry about getting 8 hours of sleep. I can get 6 hours of solid sleep, 6 hours of solid quality sleep. I make sure I get to bed at the same time every day. I keep my devices off and have a good wind down routine. I do just fine. If there's a few days of bad sleep, I take a Unisom and plan for sleep through the whole night. Oh, also I take naps. Naps are the worst for quality sleep. Anybody take any pills for sleep?
Ambien and Seroquel. And combination with Excopri is glorious. I love it.
Yeah, no, Doc put me on diazepam at night. So I think that helps. I know the Excopri helps me sleep, but that's gone. But like right now, I can't stay awake. I literally, I'm like, yeah, it's that feeling that I cannot stay awake. So, and I've been sleeping. My daughter was joking. She's like, I think you wake up for maybe 2 hours a day. And that's what it's been like pretty much all weekend. And missed my grandson's birthday party, which is okay. Yeah, just, and I don't know. I guess everybody's different because we had tried clobazam and lorazepam, and it turned out to be, right now it's Valium, but the Xcopri definitely changed my sleep problem. I don't know how it's going to be in a couple of weeks, but but yeah, it was just Valium. But I mean, I tried everything. I tried all of the no-nos, the diphenhydramine and melatonin and all of that. And it was crazy that they were telling me to take diphenhydramine. Even knowing that I shouldn't have, I'm like, okay, you better make sure you got me well supplied with rescue meds. And it was like, oh, you weren't kidding, right? When we were refilling the whatchamajigger, the Nasolam. And it's like, I told you, I cannot take diphenhydramine. And you're like, no, this will help you sleep. Okay, okay, let me listen to my doctor. Well, yeah. So, but now I'm like, I can't stay awake. But I slept more than 8 hours. I used to be okay with like 6.5. It's when it goes below 4 hours, that's when I'm in trouble. And I think that's what we all need to know. You know, it's like, what's your sleep threshold? Like, if you have 3 nights in a row with less than 4 hours of sleep, how do you respond to that? Or, okay, you had one night where you only got 4 hours of sleep, but every other night is fine and you're fine. And everybody has their own kind of sleep pattern where, you know when you're screwed. Do you know what I mean? It's like, uh-oh, I better get some sleep. And I was going on month 2 of less than 3 hours a night. And yeah, I had to do something. But, and it was the same doctor that I saw last year, you know, but when I went in and I'm like, okay, we got a problem. Here we are. This is what we're looking at. And this is what happens in my history. I just don't feel like doing. I don't feel like wasting time ending up in status because I've been telling you guys I can't sleep, you know. And then the yeah, everything fell together after that. But right now I don't know what kind of sleep I'm getting. They don't 100% rely on Apple Watch, but it's a good tool. So excuse me, I don't know. But yeah, still
Yeah,
tired.
so it's definitely another individual thing. So just out of curiosity though, are you done titrating up on the Xcopri now? Are you taking your full dose?
No, we stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, the heart rhythm. I don't know if I had a chance to tell you guys. I had an onset of a very drastic, irregular heartbeat, and it set off the alarm on my watch several times. And a couple of those times, I put my blood pressure cuff on, and it was setting the alarm on the blood pressure cuff. They do rely on the accuracy of that cuff. So I'm like, okay, I'll bring it with me, and they just go through the memory of the blood pressure cuff. But what was happening within 1 minute, my heart rate was going as low as 38 beats per minute up to 165 within a minute, up and down without any real pattern. And I was on 50 milligrams of Xcopri, and we just dropped my Vimpat by 100 milligrams a day. So we're not sure if they were seizures because we dropped the Vimpat too quickly, for me at least, or was it a reaction to the Xcopri? But I tell all of my doctors, if there is a rare side effect, I'm your girl. Okay, I will be that case for you. I am not joking. So to look at my doctor on Zoom, he's sitting back in his chair with his arms crossed, and he's like, yep, you're right, you're the rare one. This doesn't happen. And I said, yeah, it does. This is why they changed the titration. Too many people had heart attacks from Xcopri in the UK. And he's like, I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, I know, but let's talk about that. Is this something that we should do before any individual takes Xcopri? If it has a known cardiac side effect. And he's like, well, that's not a bad idea. you know, because he didn't know what else to say to me. I'm like, so now I probably have this cardiac abnormality. But he said, we're not going to look into this until after your shoulder surgery, because if I see a cardiologist, it'll cancel my surgery. So let's see what happens. So we stopped the Xcopri. No more events. When you look at it on like the month, like when you spread the graph out, it's like boom, boom. Okay, it's gone. It was literally just 30 hours of this. Now I know what a heart attack feels like. But yeah, I was the rare one that had, I didn't know that I still don't know if I have, it's called QT shortening, and it's an electrical abnormality in the heart. So I still have to get tested for that. But we had to stop the Xcopri immediately. And at 50 milligrams, it's not bad, but he said you might have some of the side effects for a few weeks, just sleep it off. And that was it. But, you know, finding out this has never happened. No, you can't say never. So, but I'm that rare one that had to have it happen. So yeah, no more Xcopri, back to the drawing board. We'll deal with this after I get my shoulder taken care of. That's all. But yeah,
With taking that, do you feel high or is it just a fatigue?
the Xcopri,
Yeah.
I felt pretty good on 25 milligrams. And if you want to call it a high, it was basically, it got rid of the glitches I have all day long. So I had more energy because I wasn't having all of the myoclonic glitches. But when I got to 50, that's when I was like, I told Angel, I'm like, this is no joke. I'm like ready to face plant on the second dose of 50 milligrams. And then the next day, after the second dose was when my heart went crazy. And that's usually when that shows up, that little problem with the heart. And that usually shows up by 50 milligrams. Because 100 milligrams would complicate it. But thankfully, but yeah, no, I don't know if I can say I was high, but I was feeling pretty good on 25 milligrams. And if I knew they could keep me at that dose with 200 milligrams of Impat, I would probably be okay. But I won't risk it. I will never risk a second attempt at any medication that I had a life-threatening side effect from. This, yeah, I've done that. I will never do that again. The side effect does not change at all, other than it's worse. So if your kidneys are gonna fail, you're gonna experience that. Yeah. If the first time you just got jaundice, the second time you're gonna go into liver failure. So I'll never do that again. And my doctor knows that. Like if I say, okay, I'm done with this. Yeah, I told him before he said it was okay. I'm not kidding. I said, okay, I'm not taking Xcopri until we know. I think I'm okay to stop here, just waiting for you to agree. And when he called and he's like, so you weren't going to take another pill whether I agreed or not, right? Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Do
That
these
was
guys ever thank you? I mean, for literally like teaching them something. You are that one patient who gets the rare side effects, and like they must be learning a lot from you.
yeah. And well, when I came here 5 years ago, I knew that. I knew that about myself. And I'm like, I really wanted to share the growth from that. And the previous providers didn't see that. This guy does. Cause he's the, oh shit, what a gem. And I'm like, seriously, look at the side effects that I had from other medications. The rarest of the rare side effect that you can get from phenobarbital. Okay, I can't have that. I'm allergic to the most innocuous antibiotic known to man, but you put that in my eyes, I'm in the ICU. So, all the mycins, erythromycin, gentamicin will kill me. But I can take, I can take any other antibiotic with those. It's so rare, it's ridiculous. And they think they're like, oh, you're making this up. No, I wish. But yeah, he was definitely, this stuff doesn't happen, and you are that person. So, because the history I have with his previous colleagues, these things don't happen. You don't do these things to patients. And then I react to Xcopri with what, yeah, it's the death. It is the death side effect. So no thanks.
Not worth it. Not happening to you.
I wish I could sleep for 12 hours. I think just mixed with the B12, my body is like surviving on just enough sleep.
Yeah,
Okay, out of all that, you ended up jealous about how long she slept.
Yeah.
I don't blame you, because I might be jealous next week. Okay, let's face it. This might go away and I'll be jealous of not being able to sleep again. So, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought of something that, yeah, I mean, I won't name names, but I just realized there's another reason I might not be sleeping is because I'm no longer taking pregabalin, and the nerve pain from, not just the issues I have, but all of us, you have epilepsy, you're going to have nerve pain somewhere. Okay, something's going to be zapping somewhere. Who just popped in? But yeah, pregabalin is just as good, if not better, than gabapentin for nerve pain. So what knocked me out today was psilocybin, because that's my next best nerve pain remedy. And I just realized, I'm like, man, I am still wiped out. I'm like, yo, I didn't measure that dose. I just popped it in my mouth, and that was a pretty big cap. So yeah, I might still be tripping, guys, but still, when I told my that one NP, and this is right after I joined Epilepsy Universe, I got so sick of this woman fighting over what I was taking pregabalin for, because she was like, no, it's for pain, it's for pain. I was taking it for seizures, especially the nocturnal seizures, and I'm not taking it anymore because she didn't want to write the script, so I had to get myself off of it, yada yada. And I'm like, I really wonder if that was helping me sleep and preventing those, yeah, whatever was happening overnight. I don't know. It just came to mind.
Yeah. I mean, like, I sleep so light. So, I mean, I can get just enough sleep. I'll see you later, Brandon. I can get just enough sleep. It won't let me like sleep throughout the day. I think I sleep too lightly. So, like, I hear traffic. Like I said, there's bathrooms on both walls. So I hear the bathrooms. So, yeah. I couldn't get. I don't even know how the medication would work. I think I just feel high all day. Because I try to fight it.
Man, I get high on sleep. Okay. I'm not going to lie. When we're, once I get sleep deprived and I start getting enough sleep, yeah, I can get high just on that. But I can't say the Xcopri made me high, but it did help me sleep. And it's, it definitely, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. My brain's going off in a couple directions because we still have to find a solution. Um, I wonder if all I need to do is go back on that pre-gambling because I didn't have this kind of nerve pain, but to be honest, my doctor knows I use psilocybin and he said he doesn't know enough about it. And all he said was, can I trust you to use it wisely? I'm like, oh, yes. I can tell you straight up, I hate tripping. I hate it. Um, I can't say I've ever had a bad trip, but it's not the reason I use psilocybin. Ouch. Yeah, it's that. Okay. I have a nerve stuck in a joint right now that every time I take a deep breath, it is getting pinched. So if psilocybin's going to shut that down, calm it down a bit, I'm going to take some shrooms. And he's like, all right, I don't know how it reacts. And I said, talk to these people at Johns Hopkins and they'll explain. So now he knows how I'm using it because I'm in their study. So it's like, okay, this isn't a bad thing. And I can't take all those, like, you can't just put me on Vicodin right now. Like, I, yeah, I got to have something for this kind of pain. But I wonder now if they were just, if I just go back on the pre-gambling. I don't know.
Worth a try for your life.
What's that?
Worth a try for your life.
I can really understand you. Where's the what for your life?
I heard it's worth a try for your life.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it's it. I mean, I was on pre-gambling for a long time. And but like just like everything else, especially when you have drug resistant or refractory epilepsy, I was developing a tolerance and I was taking so much of it that it made me allergic to the sun. Okay. And that doesn't fit my lifestyle. So, um, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we're out of pharmaceuticals. He might be right. We're out. We're out. I haven't tried Briviact yet.
Is Briviac the one that comes in extended release too?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think I tried that one before the Carbatrol, and the Carbatrol ended up working better for me, but it was that brand name that I couldn't get for very long.
Carbatrol. Um, is that Tegretol? No.
Carbamazepine, I know is the off-brand name, but it's from that family. It is a really kind of common one.
I always wondered why they gave me Ativan, and they give it to me in the IV in the ambulance usually.
It's,
I thought it was like a pain medication or a sleeping medication. I didn't know it was a benzo.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's our favorite benzo. Yes, that's my drug seeking benzo because I asked for it. I'm like, you better give me some Ativan while I can still talk. And they didn't. So by the time they got me to the hospital, I couldn't tell them anything. And it was, oh my God, that story is the funniest story from Rochester. And they were like, we didn't even know who you were. I'm like, all you had to do was scan my tattoo, fool. Anybody, I don't know if you know, I don't know if you guys know this. If you've ever been in the hospital and um they ask you, do you have two tattoos, this, that, they will take pictures of those tattoos, and it goes now, it is in a national database, just like facial recognition. So your tattoo is just like facial recognition. So I'm waking up 3 days later after this seizure, and this nurse is telling me the story. Oh, we got you here. This happened, that happened. And I'm sitting there and I'm loaded up on, I don't know what they had me on. And I was still smart enough to say, why didn't they just scan my tattoo? Or better yet, my teeth?
But cover-ups. So many people get tattoos done and then just, fix it.
But then there's this thing since the 1950s called dental records. Your dental records will
Oh yeah,
identify
crime junkie here. That's
even
on cold
your
cases.
skull. Yeah, even if your skull has been separated from your body. Okay, your dental records will identify you. And I'm like, wait, I'm the one that had the seizure, right? And the nurse turned on her heel and walked out the door and sent somebody else in to talk to me. And I'm like, please tell me you didn't. Please tell me you didn't. It's like, well, we thought you were having an overdose. Oh, Jesus, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. But apparently they didn't know how to read the tattoo. It says epilepsy. It's not code, it's a word. Um, it's like just what? But no, Ativan, my first few visits to the hospital, I was telling them, you're probably going to have to give me either a sublingual or an IV. I feel this seizure coming. And I'm like, this is my third cluster today. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, cheers. So they have it in my records that I was drug seeking. And it just made another team literally crack up.
That's just as bad as the PNES.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're not talking about fixing that.
Well, I mean, that's not, you can't get that out of your record. It's basically, I don't know how to say it. It can be used however that provider wants to use it. So if ever it's used against me, I will know that that's a negative agenda on that provider. And I know how
Okay.
awful that sounds. It's just going to tell me immediately that they are there to harm me, or they have their own agenda and they need a data point. It ain't going to be me. Because yes, I know that's there. And did you see why? There are things called diagnosis deferred. And if you don't read the deferrals, you're showing me that you only wanted to use that diagnosis. So being aware that in your records, whenever your doctor says, yeah, I had that tossed, ask if he wrote a deferral and get a copy of it. Because whenever you have a deferred diagnosis, that doctor had to submit a statement of deferral to say, okay, that was not a psychiatric event. She literally had tonic-clonic seizures. So that deferred diagnosis that's in my records, I have a hard copy, paper copy of it. So if ever a doctor wants to say, well, in October 2023, you had this psychiatric event, I can say, so can my daughter, because she knows now what her mom's been going through for decades. Now she knows. She can pull it out and say, you didn't read the deferral. And if you're not going to apply the deferral to that diagnosis, I'm reporting that. That's it. That's it. And okay, I can do that. I can do, you know, and it's like, I want more and more people to know what they can do to protect themselves from these doctors who do what we call search, copy, paste providers. They look for what they want to treat you for or what they want to frame you with and take those codes. Okay, you've got this. And that's exactly what I just went through for 5 years. Until I said, yo, I'm recognizing something here. And you're telling this doctor that he was wrong. I'm going to bring him with me, bro. I'm just not going to tell you till we get there. You know,
Love it.
yeah.
And then your accreditation's going to be on the line at the same time where you're looking all these people in the face that can actually make a difference.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's beautiful.
You know, and now I've got this doctor, I've got this epileptologist looking at me like, you're not kidding. You just saved this place by the skin of its teeth. Anybody else would have sued us by now. You know, and I'm like, yeah, I know. But I'm on a mission just like you are. So work with me here, bro. And he's like, yeah, this is this is the world of never happens. This is my case of this stuff never happens. And it's right here and right with my own colleagues that I respected. Yeah, one of them being his boss, but hey, you know, but when you let those doctors know, look, I understand that that's in my record, but I also understand that it was deferred, that that was a mistaken diagnosis, and it was deferred because it was clinically proven to be something else. And boom, you want to argue with me? I don't feel like it. I'll let you talk to somebody else instead. And it's a reportable offense. And just letting a provider know that their behavior is something you can report. If they feel threatened, walk away because they're planning on hurting you. And you just told them you're not going to get away with it. So, but yeah, this is definitely different now that they know. Like, well, you kept putting up barriers and just made me stronger. You know, I had to find out where to reach. And whoops, told you not to make me do it. Told you.
Oh, every time we hear another, the next chapter in your story, basically, we just get so much more love and so proud of you. So this
Oh,
deferred diagnosis, basically, when explaining to, say, family members, because now I definitely want to get them included on this, should we explain it as priorities? A deferred diagnosis being one that's not never what you are going to be primarily treated for. Or is a deferred diagnosis just something that they have to look into?
no, that's not what it means at all.
Oh, okay, so
If you were given a diagnosis, especially in trauma emergency room, they diagnosed me with a psychiatric condition during during a seizure. So because they diagnosed that and said that this was the presenting behavior, blah 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 blah, and they submitted that diagnosis, okay? So there's that diagnosis on my record. 6 hours later, another doctor comes up and has to intubate me because I'm seizing. That doctor who had to intubate me looked at that diagnosis and said, no, this was not a psychiatric event. This psychiatric diagnosis will be deferred. In other words, I'm rejecting that diagnosis because it was a misdiagnosis. That's what deferred diagnosis means. So one doctor can say, this is what I saw. Yeah, that is what you saw. And those were focal seizures until she stopped breathing. And then it became an epileptic seizure. No, the whole event was an epileptic seizure. So that deferred diagnosis, even though that psych diagnosis can stay put, I don't really care. They don't have to treat me for it. because it was never supported. I didn't have the proper process to support that diagnosis, and it was incorrect. So a deferred diagnosis says, no, that was wrong. Okay, psychiatric diagnosis deferred. And then he put in the neurological diagnosis, and those same events, the same behaviors. This was a frontal focal seizure. This is what a parietal focal seizure looks like. I had every single seizure that you could identify as a focal seizure before I went tonic-clonic. And I knew it. And that's why I went to the hospital. Right? And I'm like, okay, that's where I learned how to file violations. Because it's been twice, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm done here.
And this never got in the way of an insurance claim being properly billed and paid.
No, no, no. In fact, when I was trying to find out what all of that meant, even my insurance company said it wouldn't affect payment, and that I was there for observation, and the observation that was listed was not psychiatric. I would not have been in the acute stroke unit if I was there for psychiatric. So it's like, yeah.
So they didn't even have you on the psych floor, but they had you being primarily treated supposedly for a psychiatric diagnosis.
Yeah, they had me on a psych. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, and it didn't take me long to figure it out. I mean, it took me 3 days to wake up and really understand where I was. I did not know that I was in the acute stroke unit, and I know what that means as a wannabe nurse. And I was like, wait a minute, why am I here? And you had a stroke. Along with that seizure, you had a stroke. So I would have been in the psych ward if I had a psychiatric or a schizoid episode, so, and that was one thing. And then the doctor explained it to me that deferral, he said, this is what you're going to see. And this is what I saw. And he was one of the directors for that emergency room department. So, it's like, okay, this is what I want to see. I still talk to him. And it's like, what are we doing to raise awareness? To recognize this could be epileptic. Well, your heart rate's going to go up when you have a panic attack. Yeah, not to 165 from 38. That is not a panic attack. And I don't know. I don't know how to raise awareness among healthcare professionals. That's, yeah. But yeah.
Well, it sounds like they're going to have to learn the hard way.
Yeah, they
The more
did.
patients that get aware, medical professionals will be educated.
Yeah, the more we speak up, and you don't even always have to file that violation. Just saying, look, how much respect do you have for your license? That behavior is reportable. And everybody has their own attitude. I have a tendency to be harsh. Okay, Jeff. Yeah, we're talking too much. But I found a way to be less harsh, when I said, okay, I did a little research, and I have a lot of respect for your time and your additional education. Because an epileptologist has 3 additional years. And just one of them is reading EEGs. That's just one of those 3 years. So you could be done with med school in 6 years, but you're not done as an epileptologist for another 3. So that kind of commitment, if we can appreciate that right away on an individual basis, and I really truly believe that's what did it for me, was walking in there and saying, I respect the extra time that it took you to be here for me at this capacity. And because I respect that time, I'm going to give you a condensed version minus the bullshit, okay? And boom, boom, boom. And that was all he needed. And he said, yeah, I've been trying to put these pieces together and none of it makes sense. It stopped making sense in March of 2020 when I moved to Rochester. So just throw that all out the window and boom, we were fine, you know. But as soon as I respected his time, I said, I don't want you sitting reading this whole thing, trying to figure this out because you won't. I can't even get a lawyer to do it. So, you know, it's just, you can yell at your boss later. I don't know. I don't care. And now it's easy for him to say, I am just absolutely shocked at their behavior that I have trouble looking at some of them now. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it's, I don't know. Oh, you have epilepsy, but the seizures you're having are not epileptic. Okay.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard. Like, I didn't know those things were. Yeah, I was uneducated about epilepsy.
Yeah, I had that printed because she put it in a message on my chart. I walked in with that on paper. And he's like, wait, is this our Patty Rogers? Yeah. She's the reason I left the first time. Here's the previous reason. She said that I had psychogenic epilepsy. And when you put terms together that don't fit together, it's a polarization that happens in my brain that just doesn't work. And I don't let it happen. So, yeah, and he feels the same way now. It's like, yeah, you're right. This just doesn't fit. But okay. Yeah. I don't know. So where did everybody go? Is it back to school time maybe? I mean,
I think everybody's having a rough week, personally.
Everybody
yeah,
must have got
There's a
dropped or
lot of
something.
surprises popping up.
no doubt.
Severe memory loss. Terrified. Has anyone here experienced memory loss after some bad seizures? My partner had his first seizure in October last year, one that went on for 6 minutes and nearly killed him, coma, etc. Despite the dangerous length, he didn't suffer memory loss besides the day of the seizure. Fast forward to a week, he had 6 seizures within waking up and recovery in between, ambulance present for 5, and was discharged from the hospital a few days later with no memory of this entire year. It's been a week now with no improvement. Memories are lost forever. It's very scary for him inside his mind right now, and I'm feeling so lost. We have a plan going forward on memory exercises and et cetera, but I need to know if anyone has had this before. I know it's a thing. Thanks and goodbye. Google isn't helping, but I want to hear real stories. I'd say I have severe memory loss, and it's not exactly long term like that. I'm not sure I can relate to that bad memory. For him to, mine's are just short term. I've heard of people saying they lost their long term memory, so maybe it's just me. So mine not be severe, but I can't remember anything that's happened earlier or if I'd eaten or not. Now that I think about it, I think I have.
Well, thanks for the reminder. I don't think I did.
Well, I guess if severe short or severe long-term memory loss is a segment of your life, then I qualify for that. I don't have any childhood memory. Nothing of my father's side of the family. They were around until I was at least 15. And yeah, I don't remember a lot of what other people would determine to be important life events. That's just
Yeah.
not Not something I remember. But lately, songs. Weird. It's really weird that music does bring it back, and it's not even songs that I used to listen to. Like listening to The Weekend for the last week has helped me remember stuff that I thought it would have had to be Usher, you know? So it's surprising to say the least. What you got, Jeff?
I have both. I can't. My short-term memory is much worse. My long-term memory, I only remember good events, and most of them, are around music. Uh, and most of my long-term memories are around music. Uh, I had, like you, I have almost no memory of my childhood. Uh, I remember as a kid going down to the village with my friend and listening to the folk singers on the street. Um, uh, and, I remember certain things, but like my first wedding, I have no idea when it was, uh, or I don't remember anything about it. And it's not that uh, it was a bitter ending or anything like that. Um, it's just, I have no memory of it. Uh,
And did you come across the issue
but
too of the people that were involved in those events that you technically should remember ever getting offended?
no, no,
Oh yeah,
I don't get that.
that's a blessing.
Yeah. Um,
Oh yeah, I
And was
get
it always the ex for you?
no,
I'm
Or was
not
it
sorry.
daughters and children?
yeah, my kids. It's so hard.
Okay.
They get it more now, but it's like, how could you not remember that? It's like, please, how could you not remember that I have a brain problem? And after
Exactly.
enough of that, I think it finally sunk in. It's like, but I get it now, But my worst memory thing was that the loss of my ability to read for a little while. And that was the scariest thing. But I I I've had two healthcare professionals. One was my favorite neuropsych in Buffalo, and the other is my therapist. And she did some studying and found out the same thing what he said. Sometimes those of us who have PTSD, we may have those memories, we just can't get to them. And PTSD may have actually protected those memories during seizures. There's no way to prove it, but how do I remember stuff from when I was literally a little kid? All right. I remember watching Apollo in black and white, and I can tell you who was in the room. But do I remember if I ate today? No, no, I didn't. I did earlier, but yeah, yeah. But I've so many times people get offended when I forget things, and it's like, sorry, can't help you.
And that's one of the comments here that kind of attributes to that. They're saying one time I woke up from a seizure and didn't know where my house was. Turns out Hurricane Helene washed it away. I still have no memory of the preparation for the storm or the cleanup after. My family said I helped them. Maybe that's for the better. I recently read this article. They talk about epilepsy a bit. It's pretty good. But yeah, I have big gaps of memory missing, mostly time around seizures. Not all of my memory, but I'm reading in this article next. But yes, my memory is so bad, and memories near seizures are the most affected. I remember things perfectly from before I had seizures, like in elementary school. 21, 22 was a bad year. I don't even remember the apartment I lived in then. Best wishes to your partner's recovery, and memory is bad, especially bad with temporal lobe epilepsy. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that is like the most common one out there, I think. See, and stuff like that kind of makes me wonder too, like, why do I know that Helene was the category 4 in September of 24 when why? Like, why does that stick out to me? That didn't even do that much damage to Florida. But I remember more facts about Hurricane Helene than probably I do about my own life at that point in time.
Hmm.
So yeah, memory, we could go on forever, but it's never straightforward.
Let me go through
It's a
some of these
funny thing.
comments.
What'd you say, Jeff?
It's a funny thing, memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. Um, yeah, let's go through some of these comments. Someone says, I haven't lost a year, but days, weeks, yes. And my memory is generally shit. Another one says, it's not particularly unusual. Unfortunately, most of 2023 is a uniform of gray haze. I have reference notes, Excel spreadsheets, and prior chat conversations in order to recall important details. Aspects of short term memory have also noticeably deteriorated. Yeah, the other ones are really long. I got some other ones that says, I hardly have any. Then a few days later, about 3 a.m. is when I can get some details. Good news is about every morning you wake up, it's a good day because you can't remember the day before. Someone said, I've just got a letter to see psychology. My memory has been diabolical since a double seizure last year. Mine's been diabolical for a long time.
You can't be talking about your memory being diabolical. Your memory is so much better than mine.
Yeah, but yours is bad. Mine's is bad. Um, yeah.
But you're the king of who started this group and is reminding everybody always to see the positive side and focus on management and what you can improve on. Because certain aspects of epilepsy, yeah, we're all gonna have trouble with,
Mm,
but that can end up turning around. And there's other things that you can control that will actually make it all worth it.
gotta try to smile.
Exactly. And
Try
we
to
all
smile.
give each other plenty of reasons to smile.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I will never forget, you guys. Never forget. Are you all who's being real here? Are you guys really being, you got epilepsy that bad? It's that bad? I'll never forget it.
See, but
You
what do you
know,
remember specifically? It's the details. That's what fucks with me. Like somebody can remember somebody who was in the room last night, and I hear that name and I'm thinking a completely different person from like one of
yeah,
the episodes that I watched from 2 months ago.
yeah, right. And it's like, what? And it depends on when you get me. It depends on when it hits my head too. It's like, plus there's that, I don't know if you guys experience this. I call it delayed memory. I'll remember tomorrow. Ask me tomorrow, I'll have it. Okay, but I am 6 months from my 65th birthday. So I'm gonna let myself forget some things because they're not worth remembering. There's some of that, we all have that. But I'm like, I really do remember a lot more. Our memory is better. And if we can sulk over it, we got enough of it. If you're feeling bad, like you don't have enough of it, there's enough of your memory there to tell you you had more and you still have some. I've seen people with epilepsy. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of Charlotte or little Jade and David, or, we call them our cannabis kids. Have you ever seen a kid with Dravet's syndrome? I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain about my memory. I really wish I had more of it. That's just part of epilepsy. I have more than I thought I would. Okay. I do. I do. But it's not as bad as it could be. And I hope I can always say that. Because man, I would love to start reaching out to those families who are caregivers to kids even adult kids who have severe forms of epilepsy. And what Realm of Caring does is exactly that. And I can't do it. Emotionally, I can't do it. But when I need help and I need a shoulder to lean on, that's where I go. Um, I always got somebody in my corner, but I always know that it could always be worse. I mean, I've heard some of the seizures on the phone. Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah. I'm too emotional for Realm of Caring. So I'm like, okay, I'm sorry guys, we're back to this again, but I just get too emotional. But yeah, we really do have it worse than somebody that only gets a deja vu a couple times a year. But we still don't have it as bad as somebody with Dravet or, with other problems. I have a friend who has cerebral palsy and he has epilepsy. Now you want a fall risk? Oh God, there's no. Mm-mm. I don't I can't get it in my head. He has to have a live-in caregiver. It's just part of his life. And I'm like, okay, I'm grateful for what I got. But yeah,
Yes.
everybody being real here? Are y'all being real?
Have you ever ended up being that example for somebody else and felt satisfied? Somebody's talking to you, realizes that, obviously your condition is a little bit more extreme, and then they kind of shut up about theirs.
That guy was crazy, first of all. Um,
Yeah, well, I mean, crazy is very subjective, but um, yeah, kind of. My
I just mean what comes to
70%.
mind is going on a walk last night, and the only thing, first of all, it's funny because the only thing I remember from the walk is this random conversation. I couldn't even tell you like how the hell I got around this neighborhood because it was dark, everything looks different, and yeah, I didn't know there was a way to end up back at the entrance without going that way. So again, that's the bad memory part. But came across this total stranger, just started chatting, cute dog, is she friendly? And again, a weird thing about the memory. I remember she's from Freehold, New Jersey. I'm not even from there. Like, I'm 3 counties away from there, but for some reason, I remember that's what this, whatever her name was, said. And by the end of the conversation, she's telling me about, how, yes, I'm not gonna, rat you out for living here because a lot of people have children who live in as caregivers and whatever. And then she starts going on about her husband and this, how he's got all these problems after he had one bad fall last year from cleaning the gutters. And I asked her, so, from that TBI, from that traumatic brain injury, did he get seizures? And she started, going on about it. No, but my nephew has seizures and I know about that. So I'm really, really glad. And then she just totally shut up when I asked about like that one more thing that could have happened. She ended the
Yep.
conversation by saying, yeah, yeah, I mean, he is a little off balance now, but that could just, be more from the meds. He really does have it pretty good. And she shut up about that. So
Yeah.
that's something that kind of made me smile at me. Welcome, Mark.
Oh,
Hello.
Franklin.
Icebreaker for today is if cost were not a factor, would you choose to keep your current healthcare providers or change the team?
Cost isn't necessarily the only factor. Would this include perfect knowledge of who my potential alternate providers might be?
Yes,
Pretty
essentially, if you could
happy
do the
with it.
research and choose anybody anywhere in the world to actually analyze and possibly treat your current condition, would you choose to go that route or literally just stick with who you got now?
Um, I don't know. I don't like change. I'd probably just stay, even though there may be like fancier doctors out there. I don't know if that would necessarily come with that much higher um, quality outcomes in my case. I feel like I'm kind of a standard run-of-the-mill uh, boring case. I don't know. Um, the the fancy doctors really wouldn't spend that much time looking at me, I think. And the people I have right now, they spend a lot of time talking with me. I'm really happy with the people that I've been seeing. So um yeah, I would stay with my current provider.
Well, that's great. We're really, really encouraged by somebody who is finally satisfied with the care they're actually receiving. That is encouraging. Now, this person says trigger discovery. Hi, all. I'm one of those people who has no aura, no warning, drug resistant frontal lobe tonic-clonic epilepsy. I've had 11 seizures and haven't seen any pattern or triggers, but today I had a light bulb moment. What if it's hunger or low blood sugar? When I think back, they've largely happened in restaurants or after exercise or night shift. I've been told that blood sugars were tested and they were fine, but maybe they drop and then come back up, or they were super high and had a drop. For me, it still looks normal on the strips. It would be great to finally, after 4 years, be able to start my triggers list. I'm pretty stoked, and big smile, haha, it's the small things. There is a comment saying diabetes can cause seizures, but I never thought of blood sugar and epilepsy associated. I've definitely had more focal episodes when I haven't eaten all day. So, what do you guys think about the blood sugar?
I mean, it's interesting. I think it's actually a question that has been coming up in my family recently. Um, I was tested for blood sugar issues when I was, back when I was like 14, I think, and they said that I was mildly hypoglycemic by their test. So I really should be kind of careful about how I eat, and I really am not. And um, I do often go particularly long gaps between meals, and
Any nutritional deficiencies ever brought to your attention? And it sounds
after
like that's another
waking up.
concern of going long term without eating. You might just
Yeah.
not have enough of a certain vitamin that, is filtered out of your system pretty quickly. Electrolyte imbalance, it looks like, can be a trigger for a lot of people. Maybe that's where some of my stability is coming from too. Now that I'm not eating as much, I'm drinking these electrolyte protein shake things and 5 hours of sleep and still pretty active during the day. I mean, it's just that one day. It still works for 5 or 6 days a week. And one day I will crash. I'm still having all the same foods and stuff for like the last month.
Yeah,
So,
foods. I've had like basically the same foods and tried different diets. I don't know, just eat how you've been eating, and yeah, I've been eating pretty good, I guess. My doctor never told me to change my diet, but yeah, I
well, if
think
anybody ever wants to try it, this ideal protein stuff here, that's what I like. It's been working.
what is it?
Called ideal protein. Something that family member in up north who runs a chain of gyms. She swears by it, so trusted the recommendation, and it's good. Don't want
Is it
food
like
anymore.
is it something that you put in water?
Yeah, that's one of the protein shakes, and they have little packets for that can go straight in a water bottle too. We got a bunch of foods, little snacks of diet foods. They don't taste good, but the point is, after I drink these, I don't even want food. I'm not hungry.
About the icebreaker though, when you said Mark was the first one basically to choose to keep the same doctor. I also said I'd keep the same doctor.
I did too.
Okay, so I probably mistakenly said one of the first, but it's still just really encouraging to hear anybody. That's the point I was trying to make.
I
That I like
mean,
hearing anybody
number
who is
3
happy with their.
is one of the first, so you weren't wrong about that.
Yeah, Toaster.
Um,
She said she'd stay. I mean, she'd stay with her team at Duke.
Anybody ever made a move based on the medical care that would be available?
Me?
Oh,
Years
yeah.
ago, I would have never thought of that.
Oh, yeah. I did that. That's why I went to Maryland. And, yeah, that didn't work out, but yes, I did. So, but, I mean, some people are very successful doing that. Some people need to do it. I worry about Saya and where she is. It's a little bit of a distance for her to get to a hospital, but I truly believe those of us who have medical conditions like epilepsy should live closer to better medical care. And, you know, but yeah, I mean, I went to Maryland for Johns Hopkins. So, if I had family in North Carolina, I would have gone for Duke. If I had my choice of other places, I would have just picked the best. But I knew at Johns Hopkins they were willing to consider surgery, um, which is the only reason I went. I'm like, okay, this is what we've got, and um, I didn't want to just dive, which I did. I still just kind of dropped a bomb on my doctor and said, "Oh, this is the last time I'm going to see you." Yeah, that was not very nice of me. But when he knew where I was going, he said, "This is who I want you to see." So, um, that definitely, I don't think I'll ever do it again. If anything, I'll go to Buffalo. But now, I feel that I'm definitely in better hands. It's the first time I could say that in 5 years. So it's definitely, I would pay these people if I had to. That's it for the icebreaker, yeah. But if I had the money, the more I think of it, I would go back to Johns Hopkins. Um, but yeah, still happier with what I've got now. And I am so dizzy, guys. I am like, I don't know where this is coming from. But I'll be here. I'm gonna try to keep it together, but my head is spinning right now. So
Go ahead, get you some rest. Lay down.
yeah,
There you
We'll be
go. You
here.
do what you gotta do. We'll be here too.
yep.
Now that Mark's here, I do have some scholarly articles that I think you would have an interesting opinion on.
oh,
Okay.
fun.
So check out this one. Oh, come on. I know you're not scared of the challenge. Now check out this one here and figure out. Read it. Okay. So the results of this were. Come on. Okay. So the article is about resection of the temporal piriform cortex in mesial temporal lobe epilepsy, association with seizure freedom in a retrospective cohort study. So this one that just give you some insight as how these motherfuckers want me to pay for it. So I literally only had one day to read it.
I wonder, I think I remember hearing about little hack. It probably is a loophole that's been closed now, but somebody, I think it used to be able to go to ChatGPT and get it to go behind the paywall and, hey, ChatGPT, can you read this article and transcribe it in its entirety for me? And
Oh, okay.
sure, I can do that and go write it out without having to pay them anything. But if if these publishing companies, or if it's like the scientific articles, if the
It's Wiley.
publishers are Wiley,
Yeah.
was um
Now, another one here that was interesting too was a result of a totally different study about anti-seizure medications. They tapered it in 756 people, and the EEG, so like the long-term EEGs, is they're what they concluded was that in 90% of the people tested, those who tapered their medications prior to the long-term EEG were determined to have a more successful study. So even taking into account that they had a withdrawal policy, would you feel more comfortable maybe if you had to have a long-term EEG tapering the medication
as opposed to stopping it completely for the study,
as
or
opposed to the other 10% didn't change the medication at all?
I
I
mean,
mean,
it depends on
I've mine. I've went. Well, yeah, I went tried to go cold turkey for the EMU. Um, but yeah, I haven't really tested if mines are more violent with or without medication. Um,
I guess the significance of this one is really just trying to convince people that the side effects shouldn't scare you from trying to have seizures. That's why they're saying like 90% of the time, if you have seizures, it's still determined to be a successful EEG.
yeah, I don't think I've got a successful one yet, but yeah, I'm working on
Yeah.
it.
I
I
think in the
got something.
beginning I would have never tried to have seizures for that reason. I was pregnant. I didn't want to have seizures for any reason, especially on a, even being in the hospital. But it is really the safest place to do it, and the sooner you get them the data, the better. Yeah, I can understand why that's intimidating. But
I mean, I wanted them to happen. I was trying. My family prayer group is praying for seizures, even as weird as that might sound. Yeah, I don't know. I always thought that was the point. Like try to go in, I don't know. I never considered that there might be other um other issues. I mean, pregnancy, right? I've never had to consider that. So that's a big thing. Not only stopping the medications, but then if you have the seizure with it, or if you have the seizure without it, it's like it's no good either way, is it? Um, Wow, I mean, I guess it depends a lot on what they're trying to achieve with it. Also, if they're trying to confirm epilepsy or trying to narrow down the location, then it makes sense to try to have the seizures. But I think that um, my most recent EMU stay, they didn't take me off of the meds, and I kind of really didn't think that made much sense. But the more I've considered it, I think that it makes, if they were concerned about what happened with the whole incident with um, the eye fluttering, the nystagmus, um, and whether or not that was a seizure, then that had occurred while I was on the medication. So seeing how I am responding to the full dose of the medication the entire time rather than every other extended EMU stay that I've done has been, stop the meds, and they've never had a look at what my brain is doing actually on the medication. So um, I
Yeah,
don't
that
know. I
definitely
think
seems
that
relevant. Real quick,
there's
Jeff has
reasons
had
to
his
see
hand raised for
both.
a while.
Oh,
Jeff, did
I'm
you have
sorry,
something?
Jeff.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say when I was in EMU, they lowered my meds until I had seizures. And I
And
thought
were
that's,
you satisfied with that game plan? You think that was actually successful?
yeah, yeah, it was successful. I had a couple of seizures and they got what they were looking for, I guess. And
All
I
right, go
thought
ahead,
they
Mark. So
did
you were
that.
saying that you like that too?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff, I thought you were done.
I thought they did that in any EMU visit to force the seizure, so they have the data, but I guess not.
Now these long-term EEGs, I guess sometimes they have the ones where they send you home with it. So they're talking about those patients too. A lot of times don't feel comfortable trying to induce a seizure, even though those tests cost so much money, and it's kind of a headache to get them approved and get it done. And I'm sure the medical professionals would probably rather the seizures happen, but the patients a lot of times see no reason to ever try to induce a seizure, that whatever they need to find out, they should be able to see from, a normal night's sleep.
I had one of those
Or
recently also, a take home EEG, a weekend. And I didn't have any seizures, but it showed either pre or post seizure activity.
So you got your abnormal brain activity. Is that what they were after?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they would have hoped for a full blown seizure, but they got something.
Hey, that makes sense. At least they got something to add to the chart.
Yeah. I mean, we can't predict when we're going to get a seizure that we can wear the EEG when, oh, I'm having a seizure tomorrow. Let's get the EEG hooked up.
Yeah, I wish.
Right.
You guys ever done therapy to cope with these diagnoses or anything else?
I have not. I did therapy, but it wasn't for epilepsy. I mean, it was just kind of things that epilepsy has caused, insomnia and people around you to stop coming around and stuff like that.
All right, well, you might be able to contribute. This person's asking for suggestions on a type of therapist to help cope with the diagnosis. I've been terrified to do much because I don't want to trigger a seizure. I'm 32-year-old female, have had 3 events in the last 6 months. The fact that I didn't even realize I was having them when I'd come back to is so weird. Anyway, I'm on lacosamide now and considering therapy or some type of counseling to help me adjust. I've done CBT, EMDR, and talk therapy, and it was helpful for other things, but wondering if there's a certain type of therapy that would be most helpful for this.
well, I know that a couple of weeks ago, Annie was recommending uh, CBT, right? Or where was it? Yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy. Um, I forget what it was that she was. Um,
Yeah, I
man,
think I
she
remember
hopped
the
off.
CBT too.
She hopped
What were you
off
saying,
just.
Jeff?
There aren't many things I'm qualified to speak on in epilepsy, regarding epilepsy. But one thing I can say without question is the best therapy that this person can find is right here on Tuesdays and Fridays. That's what's going to help them cope with their diagnosis better than anything else that any therapist can tell them.
Oh, thank you. I really, really appreciate hearing that. Anybody who actually
And
feels
the
like they're getting
PSA.
help, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
First suggestion is saying that good questions, some are better at specifics. It also depends on what you're working on. So they're talking about if you're just looking at handling your new stress, that could be enough to look for. A counselor for living with epilepsy is a disability. The place they went to have a free 15-minute talk session to see who they think was the right person for them. So if there's a big therapy place near you, just go do the interview. Say I'm looking for someone and let them match you up with the right therapist. So I guess they're saying if anybody who's looking for coping with a new diagnosis is a pretty wide spectrum. So it'll be easier to find a good therapist since it's not necessarily specific.
I got something. It says, how strict are you for med times? So I take my meds at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. I try to take them within 5 minutes of those times. Sometimes I'll take them 30 minutes early because I'm trying to go back to sleep and I want to turn off the med alarm. How close to or on time do you take your meds and does it seem to matter? Thanks and happy. Thanks. Have a good day. I don't know because sometimes I can snooze my alarm and I'll take it at 11 something instead of 10 like I'm supposed to because I snooze the alarms a few times. But there's days where I've not taken them and I had a seizure by 12. But there's days I've not taken it and had no seizure and waiting for the refill to be filled. And yeah, I had to wait a whole day until the next day and couldn't get my morning dose, could not get my afternoon dose. And by the time I got it yesterday in the afternoon, I just took the night dose. So I missed 3 doses and was cool. It was good from there. But I don't know, because sometimes, like I said, I've been late a few hours and had a seizure. But I've been days and not had one, so it's I don't know. Can't seem to put a finger on it.
Yeah, I try to stay as close to exact as possible. And I've also noticed that sometimes when I miss a dose by as little as just a couple hours, I start feeling a little strangeness not too long after, but there's other times where I go like an entire day not realizing I missed something and nothing happens. There's also, I've noticed though that sometimes it's not just that single day that the dose was missed that I have the problems. Sometimes when I look back in my seizure log and look over at my um, medication journal thing, that sometimes um, like a day or 2 days after I had the medication mix up, I'll um, end up having a cluster of auras and something like that. So, um, yeah, just like you, Pookie, that I can't, there's no real rhyme or reason behind any of it. It's just like, but the one thing that is certain is that if there's a little bit of a weirdness, like a little bit of a mix up, that maybe not, there'll be a problem. Definitely.
Kate, how good are you on med times?
I have it set for 8 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And I can take them within 4 hours of those times and not have any issues. I generally try to still take them at least a good like 8 hours apart.
So within both of those times, I'm usually asleep basically. Yeah.
I still have to miss at least 2 doses before I'll have any issues. If there's no other triggers.
And I got some comments. One says, I've been taking these meds for over 20 years now, and at the exact time never seemed to matter for me. As soon as I wake up and roll out of bed, I pop my pills as soon as I'm going to get into bed for the night. And I pop my PM pills. It's around the same time every day, but I don't have the exact time ever. What do you mean? That's insane. Someone says, for me, plus or minus an hour, no effects. 9 a.m., 9 p.m., I occasionally miss a dose, usually my evening dose. No major issues during a cluster of focals the next day, but not a strong correlation I can see. If I blow off my evening alarm, that's when I miss it. Someone said 2K milligram Keppra 2 times a day. After 6 years seizure free, the worst I've done is miss 2 morning doses in a row. Started to feel the old aura signs and got back on track. I aim for 8 out of 8, and that's usually an hour or two when I'm not at home, both morning and night.
I wonder if that has anything to do with the lower dose too. Because now that I'm only taking half of the 250 milligram tablet twice a day, maybe that could be why I can go so many hours without. More reason to not take meds if you don't have to.
I got something that says, can I take diet pills with my epilepsy? 80 kilograms and dieting, it's going on well, but I'd love some diet pills that would make you feel full. I'm on Berviac, Vimpag, serotonin. Has anyone else had diet pills with their epilepsy? How did you find it? I have not had diet pills. I didn't know they had diet pills. I thought diet was just something that you eat less of.
Diet pills are basically just a euphemism for speed, like for
Stimulants.
Adderall, stimulants. I mean, generally, no. Most people with epilepsy shouldn't have diet pills. I'm not sure about that whole new trend of those semaglutides. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but like Ozempic and whatnot. I don't know if they're stimulants and how they would interact with epilepsy and the brain and epilepsy medications. So if they're using that as kind of interchangeable, like diet pills, diet meds, even though it's like a little automated shot thing in your stomach, that might be another point of clarification there. But
Nausea is the
it's,
concern there. On Ozempic,
yeah,
technically it doesn't directly increase your seizure risk, but it can cause nausea and vomiting, lead to dehydration, and that's your triggers there. The AI overview is given pretty much what you just said. It's a code word for stimulant. Never advised for anyone with epilepsy. Medications that could actually be relevant though are Topamax. They're saying that could have a weight loss as a side effect. And some of the ones about like appetite suppressants are saying watch out too, because that can interfere with some of these like hormonal weight loss pills can interfere with your medication absorption. So you might end up having to up the dose on the AEDs, maybe drop a couple pounds with the weight loss drug, but then your seizures come back unless you just start taking more, of a higher dose on that. So yeah, catch 22. Probably never recommend any weight loss pills.
But the comments here, one says, I'm not a doctor, and you would have to ask yours, but every diet pill I've taken contained a stimulant of some kind, like caffeine. So hypothetically, I could see them lowering your seizure threshold. Talk to your neuro or epileptologist. Um, Someone said diet pills and said no. Wegovy or Ozempic should be fine though. Talk to your doctor. Um, Someone said Topiramax is the new Ozempic and is seizure med, but did it neither for me. Excopri and zonisamide are potentially weight loss side effects. Many add weight, like Keppra and Fycompa, etc. Definitely talk to your doctor and check drugs.com for the side effects.
Wait, somebody said that Topamax is like a new off-label weight loss drug like Ozempic?
Yeah,
That's nuts.
so this Topamax is the new Ozempic and is a seizure med.
I hope that doesn't lead to shortages of seizure meds like Ozempic did for diabetics.
Maybe if the medical community is a little more proactive this time about keeping patients educated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some more comments. One says, only do what your doctor says. No one here can tell you. Another one says, I gained weight from Topamax. Someone else says, I wouldn't because diet pills are stimulants, but I think you'd probably be fine with Ozempic or one of those similar brands. I lost 50 pounds after my diagnosis from my medication alone. I struggle to keep on weight. I'll be surprised if you want them in a month. Someone else says, I am on an Ozempic semi-glutide and it's fine. I sometimes I think sometimes diet pills tend to be sketchy stimulants, so I would ask your doctor to help guide you.
Has anybody used one of these pill splitters or have a recommendation?
No, I have not. I actually seen one sitting around, and I'm not sure whose it was because it was not mine. But
I've used a couple, like, you mean like those little, just the little lever thing with the
Something looks
lid
like
kind of.
that. Yeah, I can't really see. But yeah,
Yeah,
I see some that are like
blue.
scissors and some that are, little I don't know what to describe it as, but yeah, it's just like a
I
little open and
like
closed
I
thing with a
like the
blade in it.
little like clamshell type things that have the little V and
Yeah, I'm not looking to
that
crush
kind
the
of
pill, so I'm not
centers
going to
it.
go like the mortar pestle route. But
Yeah.
now that I'm taking half of what's prescribed in this stockpile, maybe I can get away with splitting it again. Now that I hear about Keppra increasing, as like a weight gain side effect, I want to try a little less. See if that makes a difference. So you
and
guys like have a preference of style? Better luck with the scissors or the clamshell one?
I prefer the clamshell ones, um,
Okay.
but I don't have to split many pills usually, so I haven't had to use them in a long time. It depends on the shape though. They do really well with the round ones because they can just center it nicely. But if you've got something oblong, it can be a little bit more difficult to get it lined up right. At least with the
Okay.
one I have. So I don't know, maybe somebody else has got the geometry better thought out.
Well, I got the oblong pills now, and that's what I'm cutting in half already. But it is,
Okay.
it's got that line in the middle, so when I split it like that, it's pretty accurate. But now I kind of want to split that in half. So I'm thinking maybe I'll trust one of those ones where it is measured out. It has a little triangle looking thing, and you're supposed to put the pill, I guess, even in there.
How
Try
small
it.
are they getting?
Let me
Because
just
I
grab
would
them.
be worried about I would be worried about them getting. Oh, can she still hear me? You
I
think?
believe so.
Yeah.
It's on
Yeah,
a
I've got the headset.
Oh,
Yeah, I got the
okay.
headset. I don't walk too
I
far
should
away.
have just kept talking.
Very good.
I would be concerned that the little segments of the pills would be getting
Yeah, so
so
that's the
small that
500. And that's how they are after I split it. So about that big.
okay.
Please take your medication as prescribed or whatever works for you. We're not doctors.